How are we? Good morning, everyone. Hello, welcome to another deadline stream. It is game week 31. How are we all doing? Thank you all very much for joining. Happy Saturday. I hope you're all doing well. Before we get into all the good stuff that we do on the deadline stream, please drop a hello in the chat. We will get round. We will say hello. We will say good morning. Let me know how you're doing. Let's do all of that, and then we'll crack on with the stream. Hello to Sam. Hello to Varon. Hello to Diehard Kid. Hello to Joss. Hello to Ankit. Hello to Immortal. Hello to Leonardo. Hello to Duncan. Good morning to all the members and moderators in this morning. Thank you all very much for your support on the channel, and good morning to everyone else as well. Nelso, Antonio, Jacob, Flickchick, Scott, Diggy, Ruben, Lucas, Daredevil, Cameron, Paul, Kushal, Luke, Carol, Dravs, Andrew, David, Robbo, Lee, Ivy, Frankie, Godwin, Ted, Claudio, Mark, Ihab, Phillips, Juan, AJ, Scotty, Matt, Hugh, John, Ashley, Mark, Bruno, Chaël. Good morning to HJF. Good morning, Sai. Good morning, Helmi. Good morning to William. Good morning to Goldstones. Good morning to Sebastian. And good morning to Jesse. And to everyone else, hello, good morning. So, you may have seen on Twitter, you may have seen on Instagram, I confirmed one transfer last night. It was the only one that needed to be confirmed before the price changes last night. That was selling Gabriel. Gabriel did indeed drop. I didn't buy Konza, but the plan is still to make the same two transfers. There is just something I want to look at this morning about Konza versus another option that I don't know who it is at the moment, just whether Konza is the right buy. So I went with Milenkovic. He was pretty certain that he was going to be coming in. So I went with Milenkovic. I'm pretty certain it's going to be Dan Burn that's leaving in order to free up the Newcastle spot to play the assistant manager on Eddie Howe. Part of the reason I've explained for this is if I sell Jacob Murphy, I can't really buy Morgan Rogers because in game week 33 for the double, I've already got Sarr with the double, I've got Saka with the double, and I've got Foden. Have I got the wrong? Old Chelsea Sarr in the top midfielders to buy. Good spot. So I've already got three doublers plus Salah away at Leicester. So, and I plan on doing Isak to Watkins. So if I do Murphy to Rogers to free up the Newcastle spot, I don't really have space to play him once the double does roll around. So that's why the plan at the moment is just to keep Murphy, because I can bench him in game week 33, and probably take out Dan Burn. Now, if I'm taking out Burn, because I've also taken out Gabriel, I probably do need a defender that's going to double in game week 33, which is why I plan on going for Ezri Konsa at the moment. However, the reason that I'm not 100% certain on Ezri Konsa is just the fixtures. Just that's all, really. I know he doubles, but the double is Newcastle at home, Manchester City away. And if he doesn't double in game week 36, I'm bench boosting Ezri Konsa away at Bournemouth. And if he does double, Bournemouth away, Spurs at home, it's okay. Like, it's not great. I probably would just about want that, but the fixtures are not great. They've only kept, he's kept 4 clean sheets this season. They've only kept 4 clean sheets this season, which doesn't fill me with a load of confidence. So I was trying to look on the Fantasy Football Scout website. If you want to have a look yourself, you can check it out. Link in the description, all that good stuff. But who else would I buy, particularly for 33 and then the other games afterwards? Now, Brentford are quite high up there. So I could go there. if I take out, if I reduce it down to just the few weeks, like if I just go 33, 36, 37, like Villa are naturally up there. Brentford remain up there. West Ham, I don't think I particularly want that because I've already got Areola. So it kind of is them or Brentford, really. Like, there's no one else I particularly want to buy. Like, I'm not going triple Forest defense. It just doesn't leave very much. Now, I could go with an Everton defender. And the issue is in game week 33, when everyone's got doublers, I would just have to play Milenkovic away at Spurs, which doesn't feel great. Doesn't feel great. Villa defenders are horrible FPL picks. I don't disagree really with that. Have I got... Hang on, 1 sec. The stream keeps like deleting the stuff that I've written. Have I got it open somewhere else? I do. That's why. Okay. Sorry. Kirkes, I can't afford Kirkes, so I have a maximum of 5 million for that defender. So we'll get to it in a moment. Let's talk about a few questions. There are lots of questions in the chat. The first thing to say on assistant manager, if you are chasing, so there is a possibility where you could save it to 35 towards the end of the season. The issue we've got there, is you might not get doubles. And if you don't get doubles, you're better off playing it now. So my general opinion is you should play it now. You have two options. Well, you have three options. You either go Eddie Howe, and then Pep or Arteta, depending on if you've got triple City, if you've got triple Arsenal, or you go the Glasner route. Now, if you go the Glasner route, it's because you want to chase table bonus. If that's the case and you have a luxury of transfers, you could go someone like a Graham Potter, a Thomas Frank, a Ruben Amorim this week. It's kind of up to you which of those three you'd go. If I had to take a punt, I think Potter without Kluivert playing for Bournemouth probably has the I think he has the highest potential. Or you could just go straight to Glasner. Now, if you're going to go Potter and it's going to force a -4 later down the line because you have to use an extra transfer, then I wouldn't do it. However, if you're going Potter and it doesn't, then it probably is worth going Potter before Glasner. Or you go the safe route and you go with the Eddie Howe route. If I can't get Howe, who's the next best manager? If I go Glasner, you have to sell. Like, to be honest, I really think there's only two routes. There's either the Glasner route for 32, 33, or there's the Potter route. Now, sorry, the Howe route. If you go Glasner, you could go someone else this week if you don't want to sell your Palace player this week. But you kind of need to make up the decision this week, I think. Glasner this week, and then Howe, I wouldn't do that because Glasner doesn't have table bonus this week. So yeah, a few things that you'll notice on my team. Isak does have the armband at the moment. I am very uncertain on whether I think that's a good idea or not. And the other thing is I don't feel comfortable benching Ismail Assar. I actually quite hope that we get Saka leak before the deadline, that he doesn't start. Yeah, that would make my life a lot easier, actually, if Saka was not going to start and I could just bench him. Because if I think Saka only plays 60, I don't know whether 60 minutes of Saka against Everton, who are notoriously quite difficult to break down, is better. The other one that I could bench is Foden, if I don't think he's going to start, but I do think he's going to start. And he's got a good record against Manchester United. Do I think Howe outscores Arteta by 8 points in 31-32? What, just to go Arteta? Everton away, Brentford. Yeah, I would want to go. I mean, I wouldn't have to sell Burton, which is true, but I think I'm pretty set on it. If Isak is benched, you couldn't see him playing Monday. I think there's a good chance that Isak either starts or isn't involved at all. Could it be a week that Wilson is given a run out? Yes. And if Isak starts, is he only going to play like 60, 70? So it is a worry. And I said in my video yesterday it was probably going to be Salah. I think I swapped it back 2 or 3 times last night. So well, at the moment I think Isak plays, but I'm not that confident on it. I'm not that confident on it. Yeah. So what we'll probably do is I'll probably confirm the assistant manager transfers a good time before the deadline. So probably by 10 or 10:30, and then we'll have a look at just any benching decision going into the deadline. So I don't need to worry about it. This is a manager isn't actually active, but I will be doing it this morning. How for a -4? I mean, if it's selling, if it's the only way to get it, then I still probably would. If it's a -4, the point that people have raised that you could just go Arteta for 3 weeks is one worth considering, especially if you've had to sell Gabriel. But I think I'd still probably do it. Went for Potter assistant manager, then Glasner next week. Yeah, that is the high upside play. Potter, Glasner. Bring in Murphy for Gordon. You have Sarr first sub. I probably would just bench Gordon and play Sarr, because if Gordon's back for 32, he's a better pick than Murphy. Gordon or Semenyo. I'd probably take the chance that Gordon does play. Bench 1, Livramento, Munoz, Gvardiol. Probably Gvardiol. Bench Saliba, Burn, Munoz or Gvardiol. You have David Raya in goal. I still think I'd bench the City defender, particularly because we expect him to play at centre-back again. Start 3 of Milenkovic, Kerkez, Konate, Gvardiol and Williams. Williams definitely benched, and I probably would bench double Forest, to be honest. We have the same team minus Savinho for Foden. You have 1 free transfer compared to your 2. With a system, I probably would do the same, but I probably would be more inclined to bench Savinho. Bench 1, Sarr, Eze or Rodgers. Probably Rodgers. So, Sarr or Eze, I just don't think Eze is particularly worth the money, and he's slightly less secure for minutes. Kivior starts today. I imagine Kivior starts, but I don't think you can be certain he starts both in the double if Timber and Calafiori are both back and available. Start Raya or Kepa? Definitely Raya. What are my thoughts on Kivior as a Gabriel replacement? I wouldn't do it, because I just think there's a good enough, like, let's say Ben White and Calafiori and Timber are all available. Like, you could easily line up with Ben White, Timber, Saliba, Calafiori, Lewis Skelly, and there's just no Kivior. So I wouldn't do it. I fully expect him to start today against Everton, but I don't think he'll start. I don't think we can be confident he starts both in the double. Will Trippier play? I don't know. They don't have loads of cover for him. Again, is it one that it's a Leicester fixture that maybe they don't have to force it? If you've got him, I'd probably start him. I don't think he's a buy. Ideal Kluivert replacement. I mean, if you don't have triple Newcastle, triple Palace, those teams have your best options. Outside of that, Mikel Merino is an interesting differential if you don't need the Arsenal spot. Outside of that, probably looking at someone like an Alanga. Fixtures are good for the rest of the season. Could I look at No, sorry, I can't do individual team ratings. If you want your team rated and like support, we do that through membership. But once we hit the deadline, once we hit the stream, I can't be looking at that because I need to focus on questions in the chat. Which assistant manager am I going to go? I'm almost certain going to go Eddie Howe. Do I bench Watkins for Sarr this week? Watkins for Sarr. I probably would. I'm not sure Watkins is going to start. The Arteta route. I just think there's a chance that Arsenal don't win both the next 2 games and then I'll really regret it. It would allow me to keep Burn. I mean, I'd still have to sell Burn in 30. Yeah, I just think there's a big enough chance that Arteta and Arsenal don't win both the next 2 games. Bench Saliba, Munoz, or Rodgers. I mean, probably Munoz. It's close between, probably Munoz. Probably one of the defenders. Glasner, then Arteta. See, the reason I don't like Glasner, then Arteta is that means you're not going to have triple Palace, but also not triple Arsenal. It doesn't. I understand it, but then in 33, you're going to have to do something. You might want to buy a third Palace player then. If I had to buy, I think Burn is still my favourite Newcastle defender, especially because he didn't get booked last week. So he needs 2 bookings in 2 games for it to impact the blank, impact the double. So, yeah. Bowen as a differential captain. Probably not. I think West Ham don't look great. I think they're not bad for an assistant manager, but I wouldn't rely on it for captaincy. To be honest, that being said, if you've got someone you have conviction for on captaincy this week, I don't hate it. I don't feel that confident on Isak. I will... How will I feel after the deadline? It's just the Leicester fixture. So let's have a look, because then I can not worry about my team. Is a Brentford defender for Brighton, Ipswich, Fulham better than an Aston Villa defender for a double, Bournemouth away, Spurs at home? Like, let's remember that could be a double for Villa in 36. I just think Konsa's probably the play. I just don't see anyone else particularly here for these 3 weeks that I particularly want to buy. I'd only have to play them 33, 36, 37 really. I'm not that worried about this week. Like if you looked at, if you watch the decision, Rob T's projections for this weekend basically mean if you don't own Arsenal and maybe Newcastle, clean sheet odds are horrendous this week. So, clean sheet odds are really low for loads of teams. So I don't need to worry about this week. I basically need him in 33, 36, and potentially 37, which if Villa were to double, and then I could sell him in 37, it's probably the best route, right? I don't think I love it, but I also don't think I see a better alternative to it. I think it's probably where I'm at. That's probably where I'm at. Replace Gabriel for a -4, can't afford Saliba. I mean, if you don't need to do it this week and you can't go Saliba, I probably would just wait now that the price changes have gone. Unless you need to start that player this week, but if you can't get Saliba, you probably don't. Would I go for a hit to transfer in Saka for Kluivert, especially if Saka's on the first 11? Yeah, let's wait. I'm hopeful we might get something before the deadline. Yeah, I think Sarr scored 17 points against Brighton in the reverse fixture. I really don't like benching him. Yeah. Oh, I don't like that at all. I really don't feel confident benching him. He just plays 90 every week. Like, his minutes are so reliable. He played slightly less against Fulham, but bench 2, Saliba, Savinho, Rodgers, Mateta. I think that's in the benching ranking. I would probably bench Rodgers out of those. And probably Saliba. I probably would play Savinho and Mateta. Timber to Dean. So I've also looked and toyed with the idea of Luca Dean. And if I could go Dean and I knew he was going to start consistently, I wouldn't have this. I wouldn't be worried. He's right. I mean, he's only got 5. He's got 5 assists in the Prem this season, but these back-to-back 45 minutes against Arsenal, with the Champions League, with the FA Cup. Yeah, it's a no. Like, and let's say they double in 37 because they've got the FA Cup final after 37. Let's say they double in 36 because they've got the FA Cup final. I'm just not confident Luca Dean plays twice. I'd be more confident that Konza plays twice, but I'm not even, like, he missed a couple of games through injury. Apart from that, like, I think he was forced off against Man United and then Fulham. Kivior or Konza, I wouldn't buy Kivior, I don't think. So I think I'm just going to end up on Konza. Triple captain use. I still think Isak 32 is the best use yet if you're using a chip in 33. I think Isak is better in 32 than trying to run the risk of there being no double in 36. Yeah, Brentford will win. That's fine. If you want to go Thomas Frank, assistant manager, I don't hate it. As a Chelsea fan, I was just never going to do it. I tried to leave my team supporter out of who I pick in FPL, but I can't pick a manager who wants my team to lose. I just don't think anyone watching would feel comfortable doing that. So yeah, I don't think Thomas Frank would be the one that I'd go for you. Hold Palmer for the next 2 weeks, then bring in Saka for his double. I think that's what most people will do. He's got Ipswich at home next week. Is pretty good. The Palmer fixtures for the next 2. He's my big worry every week now, from an FPL point of view. Matt, Gavardio, Kirkes, Timber, Rodgers, or Isak. I would definitely play Isak over Rodgers. And if I had to start one of those, if you've got an Arsenal defender, I'd probably play Gavardio, and unless we get news on Timber before the deadline. Purely objectively, I still think I would go Potter just over Thomas Frank, but I do think they are the top 2. I do think they're the top 2. I really don't want to bench Sarr. I really don't. But I just don't know who I play him over. Maybe Foden is the obvious choice, but Foden playing 90 in the 10, I would rather that than Sarr. This is the issue with wildcarding to set up for the bench boost is you have a good bench every week. So, you're forced to make benching decisions every single game week because this is the situation you put yourself in. Yeah, I think Savinho slightly different. I think it's slightly different. I don't know if Foden will play 90. I'm guessing, but I thought he'd start and play good minutes against Leicester. And I thought Saka would start against Fulham as well. So, yeah. Graham Potter for assistant manager. If you want to be aggressive, yes. I can do a captaincy poll, yeah. Isak, Salah, other. It won't make a difference who I captain and who I bench if Isak doesn't play at all, though, would it? That's the ideal scenario that we've got here. Yeah. Savinho or Sarr to bench. Does Savinho start? I'd play Sarr over Savinho. If 280k, would I do Potter, Glasner, or Howe assistant manager? It kind of depends on what you want. Like, if you are just playing mini leagues and you're top, then versus other. Like, if you're chasing, I'd go Glasner. If you're not, I'd go Eddie Howe. Yeah, I just don't see another defender. Like, I don't see anything else apart from Burn to Konza. And then I have Konza versus Milenkovic to start. Is Konza better than Milenkovic? Savinho or Sarr, I'd definitely play Sarr over Savinho. What about Potter, Glasner, Arteta? The issue with that is you then need only 2 Palace, only 2 Arsenal. So what, in game week 33, then you're one short of Palace players. It's not the end of the world, but I think it's too many transfers. How are we? Do I transfer Livramento to Burn? Do I transfer Livramento for Burn? I wouldn't swap them, no. No, the activation of the assistant manager doesn't use a transfer, but after that it does. I wouldn't sell Livramento to Burn. Right. Like, I just don't see someone else who it would be. Like, it's either Brentford or it's sorry. I'm just having a look at the predicted points. Palace, Mark Gay, Kivior, Konza is the highest projected point scorer out of the players who blank. If you were to remove game week 34. Like, if we go 35 to 38, like, it's Tarkowski, but they play Arsenal. I mean, the Everton defender is possible, but it just means I've got to play, like, Milenkovic away at Spurs in... Yeah, I think I'm just going to go for it. And if they double again in 36, I'd want one of them. So you think you're overestimating Newcastle wins? Maybe. It does come with a risk. It's, you know, every assistant manager comes with a risk, and people who played it on slot will tell you that the risk that it inherently comes with. But so the aim is on the assistant manager, people who went Arnie Slot got 38. So that is the aim on the assistant manager, which would probably need 3 wins, 2 draws would probably just about get you there, if not 4 wins. It comes with a risk, right? Do I think it's really Isak come off the bench if he doesn't start? I don't think it's that likely, no. When Isak's fit, he plays, right? But could this be a day that Callum Wilson's given? Why not Glasner if he has 2 doubles? Because I want triple Palace for those as well. I want triple Palace. Isak won't come off the bench. I mean, if they're losing, that's true. Well, but he did in the FA Cup, didn't he? Like, out of nowhere. Those asking, my bench boost is planned probably for 36, given I've got double Forest, who will now have Leicester at home that week. And if Villa win and they get a double in 36, Would Gordon come off the bench? I think that's more likely. No, if you play the assistant manager this week, you cannot play any other chips over the next couple of weeks. I'll probably end up with at least one Forest in my starting 11 next week. So I apologise for anyone who's got Forest, because I don't think I've had a single Forest clean sheet in my team this season. I'll probably start Milenkovic. So I'll have Konza in here. I probably won't play Konza against Southampton, just because I won't be certain that he starts in between the Champions League legs. So I probably will bench Williams, and I'll probably bench Konza. I might be tempted to bench Gvardiol against Palace, and play double Forest. It's possible. This is the issue with the assistant manager is, with the bench boost squad, is you have to bench points every week. But it is what it is. What happened to the Murphy to Alanga transfer plan? So it was either Murphy to Alanga or it's Murphy to Alanga or Burn to Konza. Murphy to Alanga is not bad. It means I lose Murphy, but I then have still 4 doublers. Would I start Gordon? If I had Gordon in over Murphy, I'd probably bench Gordon in my team. Probably. Probably. I mean, the Murphy to Alanga one is interesting. And to be honest, it might be when I get there I still do that transfer. And I prefer Burn. I prefer Murphy to Burn, I think. They have kept more clean sheets than I thought they had this season, though. I think they're 9. 9 in 30, 1 in 3. So, I mean, that predicts they keep 1 clean sheet. Well, maybe 1 or 2 in the next few, but... if they keep clean sheets, then I would hope that... Eddie Howe's done pretty well from it. It leaves me 2.1 in the bank. That's enough for the assistant manager. I just don't see anything else. I prefer Murphy to Burn, I think. Murphy's just been nice and, consistent. So he loves promoted teams as well. 13 points against Leicester last time, and then 13 against Ipswich. I probably won't buy a Villamid for 36 unless I don't want to buy Rodgers. Unless I don't want to buy Watkins. Worth a -4 for Eddie Howe. If you're going Howe, you probably would just do it for a -4. Do I use Chip this week? Yeah, right. I think I'm going to do it now because I just want to get this part done. The only thing on Oddsmaker is Isak is more likely to score if they both start, but you have the risk that they don't start. Burn out, Konza in. Free up the Newcastle spot. Arsenal spot also freed up. And then good to go with the assistant manager, which we can do in a moment as well. We are 40 minutes into the stream and I haven't asked you to like or subscribe once. So just before we do that, there are 5,500 of you in. Good morning, everyone. Welcome. But there's still 5,000 of you in here who haven't liked the stream. So if we could hit 1,000, that would be just fantastic. Thanks. Burn to Konza. Right, now how do I play this assistant manager? Here we go. Ooh. I need to get the drum emojis. Ooh. Ooh. No, right, okay. Huh? How do I... Oh, here we go. Here he is. Ah, great. He's done really well. He's 5th from bottom. Oh, dear. Oh, he's had some difficult games. He can be forgiven. He can be forgiven. He can be forgiven. Eddie Howe. For Leicester away. Assistant manager active. Confirming the transfers will lock in your assistant manager. These transfers will be active at game week 31. Thank you. Out no one. In Howe. Cost 0 points. Why not wait for Isak news? Because Isak plays on Monday. I don't think even Newcastle know if Isak's going to start on... I don't think Isak knows how Isak is on Monday, to be honest. If he was playing today, yeah, fine. But also, this chip, I know when we played it last time, loads of people had an issue playing it. So I didn't want to leave it like right up until the deadline. Yeah. Here he is. Away the lads. So now all I have to decide is the other decisions on captaincy and who to bench. If I only had one transfer, would I have just done... I needed the money, so that's why I had to sell Gabriel. There was also the value I was losing, but I needed the money from Gabriel out in order to... yeah, I didn't have the money for it. Yeah, so a couple of weeks ago, I said I wasn't going to assistant manager Eddie Howe, and it was the injury to Gabriel. Because the issue with going Eddie Howe is I didn't have anyone in 33 I wanted to play it on, but the injury to Gabriel means I can then put it on Arteta in 33. Captaincy is wide open. Arteta was actually an interesting one, but I'm all right with this. Well, I've done it anyway, so I've done it anyway. So there's no changing. There's no going back. If you don't have loads of transfers, do consider Arteta for 3 weeks and just keeping your Newcastle defender. If you're really short of transfers and you've got other stuff to fix, because it's 2 less transfers. So do I take a -4 to System Howe or just do Arteta for 3 weeks? See, a -4. I'm not confident enough Arteta wins both Everton away, Brentford at home, that I would be doing that. So I would probably do it on Howe. Eze over Murphy. I probably would want to start Murphy if you got him. It's really close between those Palace mids, though. Yeah. Who did I put higher up when I did my... Yeah. My benching ranking actually doesn't even have Murphy in it. Because I think I'd start him over the Palace mids. Because I think he's high enough. If I had 4 mil left, would I still put Konza? Yeah, probably. I don't see anyone else that you particularly go with. I've got Triple City. I've got Triple Palace. I've now got Triple Newcastle. I've got double Arsenal because I need the third spot for the other assistant manager. Monday night, under the lights, Eddie Howe. Away the lads. What do I think about Amorim, assistant manager? Amorim, Thomas Frank, and Potter are my favourite table bonus managers if you want one this week. As a Chelsea fan, I find it difficult to recommend Thomas Frank, but I realise that Thomas Frank and Potter and Amorim are 3 decent options this week if you want them. Why 2 Forest players? Forest actually have a really good run to the end to the run of the season. So they play Villa away, but they have Everton at home, Brentford at home, Leicester at home, West Ham away. Spurs away also comes after Spurs play Europa League on the Thursday. Now, it is the Monday, but I won't need him that week because I've got Konza. 35, this is probably the only slight annoying fixture, is Palace away because I've got Triple Palace for that game, and I might be forced to have to play one of those Forest defenders. But they are very solid for, like, clean sheets. I think they have 13 this season. Yeah. Milenkovic, 13. He also has 4 goals, 2 assists, 19 returns in 30 games for Milenkovic this season. With those fixtures coming up, I'm pretty happy with that. I've just got to get through a couple of slightly more I've just got to hope that weeks like this, where maybe other people, there's not loads of clean sheets going around because it's... Yeah, because there are a couple of weeks where it doesn't work having 2, but and then Williams, because Williams is just, he's 4.4, like he's definitely the best defender in there. Like they've kept 13 clean sheets. He's got a goal and an assist this season as well. He's played less minutes, so that's why it's slightly less, but yeah, I'm pretty happy with that. And the other good thing about him is because Olaraina is out at the moment, he'll be back playing right back, and they might even play a back 5, which would mean he'd play wing back as well. Why don't I think of Postecoglou? So they play Europe on Thursday. Also, I'd have to move it again next week. And I don't trust Spurs to win games, personally. Victoria, sorry. Did Gabriel to Saliba for price changes? Do I start Gabriel? I'd probably bench Gvardiol and play Saliba. I'd start Saliba over Gvardiol. I need to decide on Sarr. I feel really uncomfortable benching Sarr. I tweeted it this morning. I am tempted just to bench Saka. I am tempted to bench Saka. And just play Sarr. Because if I told you Saka played 60, you'd probably go Sarr. Like, I think I'd go Sarr over 60 minutes of Saka against Everton. Everton are notoriously hard to break down. I don't expect the game this morning to be that high scoring. People in the chat do not agree. Start Savinho or Gordon and Livramento or Gvardiol. I probably would go Savinho over Gordon and Livramento over Gvardiol. Surely I'd bench Foden first. I think Foden starts. I think he's given the full week off, ready for this game, personally. So we're saying -4 for Howe over Arteta for 3 is good to go. I don't think there's that much in it, if I'm honest. I think I probably would just about go Eddie Howe because I'd want the safety of the extra fixture. But I don't think there's that much wrong with going Arteta and just going triple Newcastle and triple Palace. I don't think there's that much wrong with it. You just have to hope that Arteta basically wins 4 games, though. You have to hope that if Arsenal drop points anywhere along the way, that's the issue. I start Sarr over Savinho. Feel like it's quite a common one. Sarr, I'd play over Savinho. Yeah. Why is Burn favoured over Livramento? You currently have Livramento who's favoured for attacking returns over Burn. I don't think Livramento has a single attacking return this season. I don't think Burn does either. But just because Livramento is a fullback doesn't mean that he's necessarily got more attacking threat. I actually think Burn is more likely to deliver a 15-pointer or something than Livramento. Plastic bottle, really? This plastic bottle it's not single. Well, I suppose by definition it is, but I have been using this and I just refill it and I put it back in the fridge and then I refill it and then I drink it. Playing wildcard, stuck on 5th mid and defender suggestions. If you've got the doublers, obviously the doublers are probably the one that I'd go. If not, Alanga. Forest is probably right up there. Konza versus Milenkovic is really close. Probably just about favour the home. Probably just about favour the home defender out of the two. I really don't know. I do hope we get news of let's say Saka gets benched before the deadline. Just make my life easier. Thoughts on Marino? I don't mind Marino as differential at all, actually. He's one to consider, definitely. Definitely. Yeah, it's Sarr versus Saka versus Foden, in theory, versus Murphy, but I'm almost certain it won't be Murphy. And then it's the captaincy. I might just go back to Salah. I might just be really boring with it. I might be really boring with it. I don't trust the fixture with Marmoush enough. I do think they'll beat United, but it's between Salah and Isak for me. We're going to have to keep an eye out for Saka leaks. Best assistant manager if you activate the chip this week. Howe, Glasner, or Potter, or another table bonus manager. Thoughts on Barnes over Murphy? Is Gordon a swerve? I wouldn't go Barnes over Murphy when Gordon's back, but Barnes drops out. Team is not locked, no. I need to decide on Sarr. I need to decide on captaincy as well. What do I expect regarding Foden's minutes? I think Foden starts and gets good minutes, given he didn't play midweek. Don't want to take a hit for Howe. Who else? Postecoglou at home. If you're not taking a hit for Howe, I just go straight Arteta. Table bonus manager, Potter, Frank, or Howe assistant manager. 65 points off top 10k, but relatively comfortable in your mini leagues. That's pretty tight. It's whether you could overturn a 30-point deficit if you did 35 from assistant manager. If you really just want to chase top 10k now, you probably need to be slightly more aggressive with it for a 65-point gap. Bench 2, Guardiola, Savinho, Munoz, and Sarr. Probably the two defenders. If you do need the benching ranking, it is up on screen. We've taken away the red and green because it was it just made the whole thing too confusing. So it's just numbered from 1 to 17 with the best at number 1. So Saka at the moment, 17 is the Forest defense. I just need to evaluate Saka's minutes though. Is there anything? If Saka starts, I think we start him. Murphy, I would start. If I bench Saka, if I start Sarr, it's not in place of Murphy. My head is telling me to bench Saka. But I don't. It feels silly. Turkan, of course, Savinho or Rodgers in. Your bench boost in 33. Probably Rodgers now. Now you've got the Leicester fixture out of the way. If I bench Saka and he scores 130 points, you move ahead of you. If that helps your decision. Thank you. Isak now or 33 for Saka. Christian, I hope you're well. If you're not going to do 32, then 33. 32 Isak's the favourite, but you might be bench boosting 32. So 33 is better than 31. So Savinho or Rashford. This week I'd probably play Savinho. I just worry about the Villa team with the Champions League coming up, but I've played my triple captain. If you've got triple captain 32, Isak is probably going to be the most favourable. Home to Palace and home to Man United. Yeah. The other thing on Saka is they play Madrid on Tuesday. You've only just joined, you haven't watched this week. What transfers do I make? This round thought process on assistant manager. So just to recap on my assistant manager, I didn't want to play it on Howe, but with Gabriel, because the reason I didn't want to play it on Eddie Howe is in game week 33, I didn't know where I'd want to put the assistant manager. But with Gabriel being out and I was forced to sell him, it then frees up a Arsenal spot if I didn't buy Saliba in his place. So I just bought a different defender, which then freed up the spot to go Howe, and then I sold Burn to Conter as well. What points am I hoping Howe gets? Who would I go if you couldn't get him? I'd go Glasner, probably. I'm aiming for 38 for my assistant managers. That's what I will hope for. That will be the same as Arnie Slot got across 3 weeks. For the people that kept it on him. I think the people who went Emery, people who went the people who went with I know there's a table. People who went Moyes, Emery, Moyes, Emery. Moyes, Emery got 44. So I'm aiming for 40 basically. Didn't I wildcard last round? How do I have 2 transfers? Yes, that's because I took 2 transfers into the wildcard. So I only used 3 of my 4 in game week 29. So you can roll transfers. So I've had a few questions about this. You get, when you play your wildcard, it effectively uses the transfer for that week. So if you have 2 transfers before you play any transfers for your wildcard, you'll have 2 after. If you have 1 before, you'll have 1 after. People have wondered if you have 1 before, if you'll then have 2 after, because you can roll transfers through the wildcard. It basically you basically keep what you had before. You don't gain an extra one. So if you had 1 before, you'll have 1 now. But I had 2 before I played my wildcard, so I had 2 this week, which I say, oh, it's great because I can use these transfers for free this week. The issue we've got is I didn't buy Elanga or Bruno Fernandes in game week 29. So would have been best only having 1 transfer. You could assistant manager Emery 33. The issue is they're likely to have Newcastle and City, neither of which with table bonus now because of the fix of how they're doing, which doesn't feel great. Villa beating Brighton was not good for it was not great for Glasner, was pretty detrimental to the Unai Emery assistant manager route. Realistically, we could see Foden, Saka or Isak not play, so starting Saad doesn't matter. I expect all 3 to be in the squad and get minutes though, so I think it probably does, like, even if they don't start. But yes, I mean, I had it last week, so it could happen again. Arteta 31 to 33. If it's going to take a -8 to get Howe this week, then yes, go Arteta. I don't think Arteta for 3 weeks is the worst shout. It's a pretty safe, boring route. You're probably only going to get 30 points from it, but I'm not going to get that many more. If I didn't have 2 free transfers, I probably would have done the -4 but I would have considered just going Arteta for 3 weeks. If I had Martinez in goal, would I have gone Burn to Konsa? No, I probably would have gone Burn to Wan-Bissaka. I think 1 Villa, 1 West Ham works quite well as a rotation. I don't think I'd want double up on either of them. Yeah. Why not Collins? Collins could work. Brighton at home, if you have to play him in 33, Wan-Bissaka is good, right? Because he plays... Ooh, interesting. Whether you take into what journalists have to say or not. He thinks Isak will be fine. Thinks Isak will be fine. Is it enough to captain him though? Or I just go boring with Salah? Going against Salah doesn't feel great, but if I had more budget, who would I go over Konsa? I don't think I massively would, to be honest. I don't think there is anyone. I could have gone up to 5 million. I don't think there was anyone really there. Start with Potter, then go Howe, then Guardiola or Teta, or keep Burn this week. I mean, if you're not going Howe this week, then maybe you just keep Burn. That will probably push the captaincy ups on Isak a little bit. Make sure to like the stream. Thank you very much, Adam. I appreciate it. Who to bench? Sarr, Savinho, Murphy, Saka. At the moment, I'd bench Savinho out of those. I do want to add the caveat that I'm hoping we might get something before the deadline on Saka. We did last week. Start with Potter, then go Howe. We did that. If I were wildcard this week, would I go Palmer until 33? I probably would. I probably would go Palmer for Brentford and Ipswich. I got lucky with it last week. I still got a red arrow with it, though. I was really surprised I got a red arrow. I think I was 1 point away from a green. I was very close. Yeah, second after the deadline, like last week on Saka loading as well. Yeah, vice captain is an interesting one. It's more important this week than probably before. I'm pretty happy with it being on Salah, in case Isak doesn't feature at all. You've committed and gone Graham Potter. Wish you luck. I wish you luck. Anyone who's gone Thomas Frank, I do not wish you luck. As a Chelsea fan, we need all the points we can get at the moment because our end of the season is horrible. But I wish you luck if you've gone Graham Potter. My mug to keep my cup of tea warm is not doing a great job. It's a bit cold. Konate's not a bad one. I don't think he's a bad pick. I don't think I could have actually afforded that. But I do think they're pretty solid defensively, though. And I don't mind that. That the Craig Hope who's tweeted about Isak and the FPLers in his DMs, what he doesn't realise is him doing that then sparks everyone who owns Gordon and Trippier and Murphy and everyone else to then reply saying, what about this player? What about that player? What about this player in the comments? He doesn't know what he's got himself in for. The issue is there were so many people with Saka news last week that I just don't know who was right or who was wrong. Apart from the person on Instagram. I would say that's probably enough for me to captain Isak, though. Literally your first thought to spam about Gordon. You see, you and everyone, Duncan. If you had more money instead of Konza, who would I have bought? I think I still would have gone Konza. I don't think there's another defender that I look at there that I particularly want. Assistant manager is active on Eddie Howe. Yes. Here he is, the little man. Serve me well, Eddie, please. 3 wins from 3 would be ideal. Start off with 25 points, then see what Mr. Mr. Mikel Arteta can get us. Let's hope. Fingers crossed. Take -4 for Howell Glasner, worth it or someone else. The other option is if you're selling Gabriel is just to go straight Arteta for 3 weeks. It probably saves transfers, but you then have slightly less fixtures and your ceiling's probably 30. Is the extra fixture for Eddie Howe worth the -4? It's probably quite close. If you think Arsenal win against Everton and if you think Everton win Arsenal win against Everton and Brentford, then I don't think it's a bad decision. I just think there's a bit of a risk, particularly Brentford's between the Madrid games. I think Marmoush vice captain is. Yeah, I don't mind Marmoush. Salah is. I know Salah's not been great, but he is the old reliable for me, and he always will be this season. So I'm pretty certain that it will be vice captain and captain on Salah and Isak. It's just which way around it is. What time is it? How long have we got till the deadline? We have got less than an hour. Let me put it in subscriber only mode. Thank you all very much for joining. You literally have to subscribe for 1 second to be using the chat. You can keep watching if you are subscribed as well. Do I think Foden starts? Yes, I do. Why not start Sarr over Foden? I think Foden starts. Rodgers or Foden? I'd go Foden. Mateta early sub. I don't think I would bench Mateta. I understand the minutes concern, but I still think when he's on the pitch, he's a better buy than Sarr. I said last time that I thought Saka and... My predictions of minutes at the moment are not great. I appreciate that. I thought Saka and Foden would both start, and I think I got 25 minutes combined from the pair of them. I do worry a little bit about Saka. If you see it on Twitter, please do tag it in me. Tag it in me? Tag me in it. Tag me in it if you see anything on Twitter, and I can always have a look. Rodgers or Sarr? Sarr. If I assistant manager, how would I still captain Isak over Salah? I don't think the assistant manager particularly feeds into that decision. I suppose maybe it could, but I don't really want to use the assistant manager to cover Isak. Really. Konza or Dean? I'd just go Konza. Why am I not going Glasner assistant manager? Because there's no table bonus against Brighton, which I was hoping there was going to be, and I just worry too much about those difficult away games. I know that if Saka plays 90, Saka is a better asset than Sarr, but if Saka only plays... If I told you Saka played 60 or 70, is he still a better asset than Sarr this week? Sarr, Murphy, Savinho, bench one. I'd bench Savinho, I think. I'll get the benching ranking. The benching ranking is up as well. I think it's got all of those players in. It doesn't have Murphy, but yeah. Saka's clear even with the minutes. Saliba, Gavardio, Munoz, and Livramento start three. I'd probably bench Gavardio. He's lower down, I think, than most of them this week. I still don't hate... I still don't hate the United attack. E7, apologies. You're holding Gabriel to 33. You need to move Livramento. You've gone Konza, but you went Mikolenko. Well, you need to make sure you've got the money, and I bought both. Konza's more useful in the short term, I would say, than Milenkovic is. So I'd probably have gone. I went Milenkovic first, but I was pretty set on going Konza as well. Yeah. What am I planning? What year? I'm planning on getting married this year. I just don't know. I feel very uncertain on the captaincy, particularly. Oliver, your wildcard looks Salah, Saka, Rodgers, Sarr, Murphy. It's practically the wildcard I think I put out. Saliba, Gavardio, Munoz, Konsa, Burn. Yeah, it's very solid. It's very solid. I don't feel that confident on the captaincy. And the other thing I think is Salah will be the most highly captained player. Now, it's a good opportunity to go against it if you want. But the reason I'm hesitating is because I know Salah is going to remain the more highly captained player. I don't think it will swing that much. Is Isak too risky, or is Salah's form a concern? And then I've got Sarr. I mean, if I was playing the minutes, I'd start Sarr over Saka and I'd captain Salah. That really would feel quite boring, though. But that's not necessarily a bad thing. I'm not captaining Salah. That's Saka, that's for sure. Is it worth a punt on Potter if you're 21 points behind leader in your league? If they don't have the assistant manager, then 21 is fine with whatever assistant manager route you get. Salah play against Robinson. Yeah, but Robinson likes to get forward. It will leave a bit of space in behind. I just think Fulham are not that great at the moment. 70 points from Sarr last time he played Brighton. Yep. It is. It's correct. Why are we worried? Because if you look at all competitions, he hasn't scored an open play goal in 6 games. Did I miss my super chat? Also, Rodgers or Rashford? I had a look, Oliver. Your wildcard looks good. Rodgers or Rashford, I'd go Rodgers. Saka versus Rodgers, I'd go Saka. And Potter or Amarin, I'd probably go Graham Potter. But assistant manager is such a swing that I would, whatever you feel confident with, but that would probably be where I'd go if I was taking table bonus. If you're not assistant managing this week, when could you play it? 35, 36? It was still a 2-2 draw. But not that much came from Salah. I don't know. Lex, welcome as a member. Drop me a message on Instagram or Twitter and I'll get you added to all the chats that you need to be in. Foden has started one of the last 4 games and no returns in the last 7 doesn't provide confidence. No, but I just think the fact that he didn't get any minutes midweek is because I think Pep was resting him for this game. Can I explain why table bonus is and why you picked Howe over Glasner for it? So Howe doesn't have table bonus. You get table bonus if you beat a team for your assistant manager 5 or more places above you in the table. Glasner also does not have table bonus this week. That is why some people are looking at the likes of Graham Potter, Ruben Amorim, Thomas Frank for their assistant manager this week because it has much bigger potential. You basically get 10 extra points if you win and 5 extra points if you draw. So it has a much higher potential, but of course you're backing a team who is lower down the table to beat a team higher up the table than you. Eddie Howe doesn't, so I've gone with a slightly more boring, maybe safer, less upside route. What's my future thinking on Foden? I'll probably hold him to the double, if I'm honest. Can't wrap your head around Burn over Livramento. I actually think Burn has as much attacking threat as Livramento does. I just feel like Burn's more likely to pick... Like, Livramento might get you, a 7 and 8 pointer with some bonus, but I feel like Burn's more likely to get you a 15 pointer with a goal and a clean sheet. Maybe I'm wrong, but that's my thinking, and that's why I went Burn initially. I mean, I've sold him this week because I needed the Newcastle spot, but why Foden over Sarr? I just think Foden generally has had a pretty good historical record against Manchester United. Manchester United, of course, play Europe on Thursday as well. So I just think City will win that game, and I think Foden will start. Brighton have looked tired. I really want to bench Saka. And I know the chat doesn't agree with me. I know you don't agree with me, but where's the deadline timer? There. Thank you. I really want to bench Saka. Just because if he only plays 60, I'd rather Sarr for 90. I wonder if it's the early kickoff is also impacting his decision. Now, if we get to the deadline and we get anything before the deadline that Saka's benched, then it makes my life really easy. It's just Madrid on Tuesday. Why Foden over Sarr but not Savinho? When Foden plays, his goal threat is definitely better than Savinho's. I would say. I think Savinho is a decent pick, but I think there's enough. Like Savinho 9-pointer is great, but he still only scored 1 goal this season. If I like Sarr, why not bench Mateta? Because I also like Mateta as well on penalties. And isn't Palace Brighton some weird like derby? Isn't that right? Isn't there some weird thing between Palace and Brighton? Or I missed it. Or is that not Palace Brighton? Isn't it like because they're on the same road? M6 Derby or something? Yeah, it is. Yeah. Well, I don't know if that that is cracking. El Gatwicko, that is, for anyone in the UK who knows where Gatwick Airport is, that is a cracker. That is comment of the day. Mark 4, you've really tickled me with that. Maybe that's what it's called, but... Oh, Seagulls, Eagles. Is that actually why? Or is there more to it? Or is it just because they have similar birds? I suppose they're both birds. They're not that similar. I'm just gonna look at it. 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 M23 Derby. Opinions on free hit 34. Free hit 34 is interesting because it means that you'll be massively against EO pretty much every week, because going into 35, you'll have a whole different group of players to everyone else. If you're chasing, moving the free hit from 34 to 33 is a interesting way to do it. I'm just trying it on. I haven't clicked confirmed, but I do wonder about it. I do wonder about it. Kivior should start today. We don't know if he's certain to start in the double once the likes of Timber, Calafiori and Ben White are probably all available by then. Shane, you want Tottenham punt on Son? I don't think so. I think Spurs will massively rotate. I wouldn't punt on Son or Spurs at all. I think it's a real risk. Konza over Milenkovic. If we get a leak that Saka was benched, I definitely bench Saka. Scored a goal and an assist away at Ipswich. I remember he scored against them previously in the season. That's why I'm hesitant. But the only thing I'd say is Villa now... Forest without Chris Wood if he's not back. Now, if Chris Wood is back, then I'd probably start Milenkovic. But I just think Forest do lack goal threat without Chris Wood in the team. And we basically got nothing on him. Why so low on Timber? I just don't think he's definitely going to start today, is the only thing. With a knock and then Real Madrid. It should be in subscriber only mode. Yeah. It is. Wouldn't it mean they rely on set pieces for goals? Maybe. I don't think Konza has great goal threat. Like, maybe Milenkovic is the play. It could also be Williams if they play... The thing is, if no Chris Wood, Konza's clean sheet odds go up. If they play a back five, then Williams is good because he'll be right wing back. So... Can I do the best assistant manager route for someone feeling punty but not crazy? I would say Potter, Glasner is probably that route. There isn't much that's in between really boring or really punty. I suppose the other route is just going straight Glasner and hope they beat Brighton at home, and then it looks pretty well set up if they do win against Brighton. You could just go something really boring this week, but I don't think there's loads of those fixtures. I think it's pretty difficult. Wolves, Ipswich have got Wolves, so it's hard to yeah. Would I play Martinez or Raya? I'd go Raya, I think. Start Gordon. Sorry, there was a question on Gordon. I wouldn't be certain enough he starts, so I probably wouldn't go with him. McKenna would have table bonus versus Wolves. I'm pretty certain he doesn't. Yeah, they're only one place different. It's places in the table, not points in the table. Would I start Dango? If Kluivert's out, probably. I wouldn't go Harvey Barnes because he'll drop out when Gordon comes back. And that might even be this game. Sorry, I moved Saka and then I refreshed the page. Gabriel to Saliba, Dango to Murphy, and Wood to Solanke for a hit. I would not buy Solanke. I'd play the 3-5-2. I wouldn't buy Solanke. He's probably the Spurs players most likely to play out of the attackers, but yeah. I might move it back, but it just feels the sensible thing to do against an Everton team who are notoriously difficult to break down. But and then captaincy. When I did it on Palmer early on in the season over Salah, I regretted it after the deadline. I definitely regretted it. I definitely did. Palmer, if I had Palmer, I'd be really, really considering a Palmer captaincy. Yeah. Those of you tagging, a few of you have tagged me and said like Flash Score has Saka starting. Those are just predicted lineups. They don't get the lineup early. They're just predictions based off the rest of us. Is this really boring if I just do it like this and just play for all the minutes? Yeah, defensively, Fulham were not great last week. Why are people having 3 Palace? They face City, Arsenal, and yeah, it's a good point. But in FPL, we love fixtures. We love teams with more fixtures than everyone else. So, yeah. We love players with more fixtures, and they have. I've got a cup of tea. Frank or Potter? I'm a Chelsea fan, so I feel like I shouldn't answer that question. I do think Potter is slightly better, but you've probably got to take it with a slight that I am probably biased, that I don't really want to recommend my team losing. That's probably the one thing. Like I can tell you to pick a player against Chelsea because I think we're going to concede or maybe we fail to score. But what I'm going to do is I'm just going to. You already have 3 Newcastle. Who else to play this as manager when chasing rank? Potter, then Glasner and Glasner. If you want to be really boring and you don't want to sell Dan Burn, you can just go Arteta for 3 weeks. That is a possibility. Maybe I just play all the minutes. I just play all the minutes on everything and just go Saka, benched, Salah cap. I think I prefer Saka over Savinho, but I just think Foden starts. Saka versus Gandhi. Yeah, it's true. I wish we get a Saka leak. To be honest, I hope we get a leak that he's benched. If we get a leak that he starts, it just leaves me in a really difficult situation that I might have to start him. I'm playing Sarr over Saka. At the moment, I am. Scenes when Foden's benched. Stop slurping my drink, sorry. I get told that all the time. Why Foden over Savinho? I just think Foden, when he starts, is a better pick than Savinho, and I think Foden starts against Man United. It feels better like this. I feel more comfortable. I feel more comfortable with it this way around. I feel more comfortable with it this way around. And the captaincy this way around as well. I don't have any early news. I don't have any early news, but before people claim that I do. You're really considering Captain Isak? I don't have a problem with Captain Isak. I quite like it. I think I'm just going to play the minutes, and actually the fact that Fulham don't look that great at the moment, and I've got assistant manager on how, I don't know. I feel like I've got so many different things feeding into my decision making for this that. Yeah. I mean, I would be surprised if he plays 90, but I got his minutes horribly wrong last week, right? Has that account on Instagram posted anything yet? What I actually don't want is a leak that says Saka starts, because then I'm forced to make a decision. Whereas if if it's uncertain or he's benched, then it makes my life a little bit easier. Right, Tripp's out. Yeah, I probably would sell Trippier, especially because he's more of a doubt. I think that's fine to assistant manager. What players are essential on wildcard? I'd definitely have Marmoush. I'd probably have Marmoush, Mateta, Isak. I probably would go Munoz, Gavardio would probably be in there unless you want to go triple Palace. Like, I'd have triple Palace, triple Newcastle if you're not assistant managering. Probably at least 2 City, triple Arsenal. And then depending on when you're going to bench boost, you fill the rest up. Do I have confidence in benching Saka? No, I don't. But I don't have confidence that he plays 90 minutes either. Why Saka bench? Because I just think he plays the least minutes out of everyone in my team, and I think he's got the highest risk of not starting. Now, I know people will say Foden has higher risk, but yeah. 10,000 of you in. Good morning. If you're here to watch some stress, I hope you're all well. I always stress on the deadlines. Drop me a like if you could. That would be great. Yes, I understand. I know the Fantasy Football Scout prediction has Foden benched, but it has Grealish starting in the 10, and I don't think that will happen against United. What chip? I'm on assistant manager on Eddie Howe. Lalari, that's probably sensible. Which assistant manager this week? Probably Potter or Thomas Frank if you want to back against Chelsea, but if Saka doesn't start, if Saka starts, I'm going out. I'm going out for the morning. I'll see you all again at 3 o'clock, if not on Sunday evening when the game week's over. You still got the wildcard, but 4 free transfers now. Should I use the chip? I think wildcard now would actually work quite well with 4 free transfers, yes. There's nothing. If you see anything on Twitter that, and there's nothing on Timber either. If you see anything on Twitter that you want me to see, please tag me in it, and I will bring anything reliable up on screen. Ben White with the Arsenal squad. I mean, Saka's with the squad, but that was not a surprise. Ben White is there. That would concern me on Timber, I think. That would concern me on Timber. Any Isak news? No, Isak doesn't play until Monday. We're not going to get anything on Isak. Nothing on Timber. Ben White looks like he's in the squad though. Apparently he's been pictured arriving with it. Yeah. So it would probably be enough. But why Foden? Won't he be benched? So, right. Do I think Foden will be benched? I don't. I think he'll start. I thought he'd start midweek, but I think the fact that he's had a full rest against Leicester and then not start United, I just don't personally see that happening. I think there's a pretty, I would say Saka in my mind is 60-40 in terms of start, but for me that start is still 60-70 minutes. So if I try and work out what my predicted minutes for Saka is with those numbers, it's not that much higher than 50 overall, like, because the risk of him not starting. So if I take all of that into account, I think the safest route would be to bench Saka in case he doesn't start. Now, if we get a leak before the deadline that he does start, then I have a decision to make. And Sarr would probably drop back to the bench in that situation. But unless I got a reliable leak that Saka does start before the deadline, I don't think I could bring myself to start him and take the risk again like I did during the week. I've confirmed 2 transfers. So I've done Gabriel out because he's injured, and I've done Dan Burn out because I needed the Newcastle spot. I didn't bring in an Arsenal defender in either of their places because I need the Arsenal spot available, because I plan on moving my assistant manager to Mikel Arteta in game week 33. So I did Konza in and Milenkovic in. I think I'm going to start Milenkovic just because of his goal threat, and he did score. He did score against them earlier on in the season. So I've gone Konza in and Milenkovic in for Burn and Gabriel. I am benching Ezri Konza at the moment. I'm also planning on benching Bukayo Saka, as I mentioned, because of the minutes. I'm also a little bit concerned about Isak's minutes. So again, the captaincy armband has fallen as default in the boring way back to Mo Salah. And as a result, I have the assistant manager active on Eddie Howe. He will get it for 31. He will get it for 32. And then I will move it in game week 33 to Mikel Arteta. That is the plan. In game week 33, for example, if I really, really worry about Foden, I could do Foden to Mikel Merino, and then I could assistant manager on Pep if I wanted to do that. But it doesn't really feel like it will make sense to use extra transfers doing that. If that is everything, that is probably a roundup. Saka, if I had Savinho instead of Foden, I don't love Savinho's goal threat enough. I would probably bench Savinho, I think. So Kluivert to Rodgers and Gabriel to Saliba. Yes, 2 good transfers. 2 good transfers. You have Van Dijk, Gvardiol, and Rodgers on the bench. Should I replace some from Mateta, Munoz, Murphy, or Livramento? No, I think I'd probably leave it as it is, like that. I think I've got 0.6 in the bank now. Would I play Saka over Savinho? Probably. Probably. I mean, I'm going to find out so close after the deadline, and it's going to be pain in my eyes as it was the other day on Tuesday. I think he's more likely to start than not, but I just think I think there's enough of a risk. Why so much? I still think Palace are a good team. I think Brighton looked pretty horrible midweek as well. Listen, if we get news that Saka does start, I will bench Sarr for him. Pick one, Sarr, Savinho, Burn. If I had to play one of them, I'd probably go Sarr. If we get news that Saka starts before the deadline, I'll probably bench Sarr and not have triple Palace. But unless we get that news, I don't think I can comfortably do that. Just playing massive X-Mins this week. It's a really boring team. It doesn't feel great. Mateta won't play 90. Yeah, Mateta is another one, but and maybe Mateta is less likely to is one I should consider as well for Saka. Yeah, maybe I should, but I think I just find Mateta one in my mind. I don't want to bench him because he could get the minutes. It's a big game for them. Wildcard this week, free hit 34, went to bench boost. Who for the bench boost? If you're wildcarding this week, you could bench boost 32 and go for like some Forest players on there and maybe your Brighton goalkeeper, for example. Or you bench boost 33 if you're loading up on doublers, for example. So it depends how many 33 doublers you're buying. Either 32 or 33. Villa have better clean sheet odds. Why bench Konza? I just think Milenkovic also has really good goal threat as well. And Forest are just so difficult to break down. Basically. Saka or Elanga. Oh, we're into the final 8 minutes of the deadline. Wow, that has come up quick. 0.8. If you have 0.8, I'd probably go Glasner or I'd go Potter. Oh, Timber is with the Arsenal squad. But so is Ben White. But it looks like Timber is there. Saka is as well. It looks like Timber is with the Arsenal squad. Ben White is also there, but yeah. Savinho or Sarr to start. I'd probably start Sarr over Savinho. Yeah, 0.8 million. You're probably either going Potter, then Glasner, or Glasner straight away. Saka or Elanga. I don't like Elanga enough. I think I'd go Saka. Bench one, Rodgers or Marino. I'd play Marino. Is it worth doing Murphy in your position down 120? I like Murphy. I think Murphy's a good pick. Potter this week, then Glasner is the most upside pick that you can go with. Yes, you have triple Newcastle and no free transfers are worth -4. I still think I probably would. Like, you've got to play the assistant manager this week. A lot of you are tagging me and stuff, but I don't think I know anything reliable. I haven't seen anything reliable. There's loads of chances. Even if he starts, if he's going to play 60, Arteta, Captain Saka in his FPL team. My brain is buffering for sure. Start Konza or Williams. It's pretty close. Williams is a slightly less attacking threat, but so probably Konza. Why bench Saka? I'm not certain he starts, and if he does start, I think he only gets 60. It doesn't feel comfortable, but the minutes midweek was a concern. The minutes midweek has put me off. Praz has gone captain Salah. Timber starting. He's with the squad. That's all we know. Dean over Konza. I wouldn't take the risk on Dean's minutes, I don't think. Wildcard this week. Free hit 34. Bench boost. Yes, JP6. We did that earlier. Why not do Gabriel to Saliba? Because I need the Arsenal spot for assistant manager on Arteta in 33. 13,000 of you in. Hello. Saka or Savinho, I'd probably play Saka. We have no team news on Arsenal. If you see anything on Twitter, please tag me. Diaz or Rashford. Diaz probably. Why Saka on the bench? I'm just very uncertain of his minutes for this week. I think he's more likely to start than not, but I think his percentage chance of starting is the lowest out of anyone in my team. The site's lagging. 2 minutes to the deadline. There's probably loads of people on the site. It did crash last week. So just be careful. Just be careful. If I don't see anything on Sakura, I think I'm going to bench him. And just hope it isn't horribly wrong. Hope it isn't horribly wrong. I just literally see nothing on Twitter. My Twitter's broken. There's nothing on Instagram. So yeah. Alanga or Sarr, I'd play Sarr. Flecken or Kepa. Flecken. Actually, no, Kepa. Sarr or Raya, definitely Raya. Potter this week. And then Howe, yes, if you've got the assistant manager, you need to go and activate it because it isn't a 30-second thing. It takes a little bit longer to do. So go and get your assistant managers active. Yeah, 1 minute to go till the deadline. Saka is definitely starting. Any news on Isak? No, he doesn't play till Monday. Bench 1, Gvardiol, Saliba, Livramento, Munoz. Probably Gvardiol, Lari. Siren and Burmo. We are into the final minute before the deadline. So we are going to not stop answering any questions. Please go and check your teams. You've got 30 seconds to lock in your teams. I don't have anything on Saka. Saka is going to be benched. Transfers have been made. Salah has a vice captain. It is incredibly boring for me this week. No news on Saka, so I didn't want to take the gamble. But yeah, go and check your teams. Go and lock it in. And then we're going to stick around to see the news that Saka is probably going to start. But yeah. Yeah. That is going to be the deadline. Yeah. Let's see. Let me tweet my team. 1 sec. 1 second. Give me a minute to cool down. I don't feel that bad about the Saka thing, even if he starts, which I think is most likely. I still think, I mean, if I get his minutes wrong again, then I get his minutes wrong again. But 1 sec. Let me just tweet my team. Thank you. If you are heading off, we're going to stick around for a little bit. Drop a like on the stream and subscribe. It's just what I felt most comfortable with. So what did I do? Gabriel and Burn out. Konza plus Milenkovic in. How assistant manager. Yes, I did cap Salah. One minute. We'll do fancy challenge in just a moment. I'm just posting it on Instagram. And I'm going to go back to Twitter and check what's going on. I really don't know how to feel. I really don't know. Anyway, we'll get back to it in a minute. Oh, and now it's part of the bus. Only goalkeepers and defenders are allowed. In the week where there's no clean sheets. Cracking stuff. We'll go Raya. We're going to go Pope. I'm definitely putting Dan Burn in. We're putting them all in. We're going full Newcastle defence because I sold them. Is there a limit on the number of players? Is it still 5? Shah. Who else? Saliba. Yeah, let's go Kirkes. Or let's go Timber, actually. And let's captain Burn. I don't know. What does the challenge do? It's just like an extra game mode. Sorry, back to the chat. I hope you're all well. That was pretty chaotic. Oh, it's 0 clean sheet points. You need attacking defenders. Oh, right. Got it. Got it. I still think Saliba's not a bad pick. He's attacking. I still think they'll get attacking returns. We'll leave it at that. Pretty sure he just means no one gets a clean sheet. Yeah. What do you mean I lied about my captain? My captain in my final decisions video yesterday was on Salah. It was on Isak this morning. I switched it back and then... To be honest, I feel like captaincy is wide open. If I knew Isak played 90, Isak's the better captain. But I just... Well, it's enough risk there. Oh, I misspoke. Okay. Oh. Oh, I apologize. I didn't do that on purpose. If I misspoke, it was up on screen. I do apologize if I misspoke. If I said it 10 seconds before, because of the stream delay, it would have been after the deadline anyway, so... I don't think I want to be live when the Saka news comes out. Is it possible to use bench boost when assistant manager is active? No. Saka hat-trick today, very possible. I did bench Saka. I was Anyway. Let's hope that Saka doesn't start. The Flash score doesn't have the teams yet. They are... they're guessing. They are guessing as well. Best Gabriel placement. I mean, if you haven't gone this week, I still think Arsenal are probably best. If not, let's see how the weekend of football goes. I like Palmer captain if you've got him, yeah. Is Palmer? Yes, I like Palmer. Yeah, let's hope Gandhi was right. How was the FPL show? The FPL show was really good. I've been on it a few times, but it was really nice to be on it with Oscar. I thought it was a really good one. Yes. It's lower odds for goals for Salah on the bookies than Isaac. Yes. It is, but the bookies odds assume that they play the same minutes. Basically assumes that they both start, and it doesn't take into a risk that they don't. Let's see. Can I talk about remaining chip strategy ahead? The plan is assistant manager now 31 to 33, free hit 34, bench boost 36 is probably. Assistant manager on Eddie Howe this week. I will have a look at the Grand National. I haven't looked at it yet, though. Team news in 3 minutes. So people are saying, well, why did I start him last week and then bench him this week? Because Connor's... Don't do that to me, Connor. Connor, don't do that to me. Connor, don't do that to me. That's not the tweet I wanted. Connor, please don't do that to me. Who's it going to be? Please tell me I'm okay. We please say it's Sterling on the right. Please say Sterling on the right. Please say it's Sterling on the right. I'm so sweating. I'm so clammy. Oh, people saying... He could be on the left. He could play left. It could be Martinelli. Here we go. Yes, he's benched. Oh. I actually am like... I feel like I'm shaking. Saliba starts. No Timber either. No Saka. No Odegaard. No Martinelli. What's the Everton team? No Mikalenko in the Everton squad. It looks like it's a back four. It's a weird Everton lineup. I mean, my first thought is I just know I'm going to get accused that it's already happening on Twitter, that I knew something, and I didn't. But unfortunately, that is the way that it will be. Anyway, I'm actually like, I feel so on edge. I feel so on edge. Anyway, you're the cartel, you're the leader. So go and check the previous leagues. I've had them all wrong. Every time you've told me there's a league, I have been on the opposite end of it, and I've been thrown in with the cartel allegations, and now I bench Saka, and here we are. I'm back in it. The graphics are going to come out. Oh, anyway. Anyway, have a lovely weekend, everyone. We'll wrap up the stream there. Yeah, have a good one. Good luck with your teams this week, and I will see you all very soon. Thanks, everyone.